I'm going to start with I was referring to the song that is so aligned to what I will be sharing today, which is basically coming back to our true nature, remembering. And I don't want you to see this service as just a service. I want you to see it as a gift to yourself of where you can leave here being nourished and remembering what is really real here. And no matter what news you might get from the doctor, or maybe some trials or tribulations you're going through, or maybe just feeling lonely or sad or separate or whatever it might be, that you walk out of here with a new sense of trust and love and knowingness. And my goal is for you to be uplifted today, but not only that, for us to feel real deep connection. That is the goal. And that being said, I have some good news and I have some bad news. So the good news is that we don't have to suffer anymore. That's the good news. The good news is that we actually can suffer a lot less if we desire to, and if we did certain practices to get there. And the bad news is, and yeah, this is kind of bad news, is that you don't, you don't get to play the victim anymore.
Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna miss that.
So that's the bad news. Like, if you want to suffer less in your life, the bad news is you can't be the victim anymore. You need to slowly start to let go of control and manipulation, but none of you really control and manipulate, right?
right.
I love that loud laugh, you know? It's interesting because we have, like, to be honest, this God complex, or want to replace God or be better than God, and it's something we do so unconsciously, and the reason why we feel bad when we do it is because we know that it's not the truth. We know that we have a loving Father and that we've never left the mind of God, and in truth, everything is exactly perfect and in perfect alignment for our growth and for the whole shebang of this incredible life that we live to work. So certain things happen for a reason. So when we fall into victimization, when we fall into control, manipulating, we don't trust, we suffer because we are not allowing God's role to be played out in our lives, for Spirit's role to be played out in our lives. So the good news is that you don't have to suffer anymore. You don't have to suffer anymore. And that is the truth. And that's actually the truth of what the unity principles are teaching us, as well as the Course in Miracles teachings as well. But again, the bad news is you can't play the victim anymore. So I want you to just see where in your life you're still feeling victimized, where you still feel that you still feel very defensive, you still feel very separated. And where that comes from is the reason why we suffer is that we need to recognize who we are in truth. And in truth, we are wholeness, we are oneness, we're not separate. We actually, in this oneness, we don't need forgiveness because we know that everything has been forgiven. There's nothing to forgive because we are whole in God as God. Course talks about how we feel we've separated from God, right? So there's this thought in our minds that just has a question, and in that moment, the Son of God forgot to laugh, is the reference that the Course of Miracles makes. And hence now we feel separate. We feel this dual world of love and fear. The good news is that the Holy Spirit is the answer to that separation. And the more that we connect to that spirit side, to that truth, which is what these services on Sunday give you, and this amazing community that you've created, it really just helps you to just remember, to ignite that memory again, that you are loved, that you're whole, that you're holy, and that nothing is truly wrong here, even though it appears. And why we suffer so much is because we believe that we are separate. We believe we are alone. We believe we need to protect ourselves. We think we are disconnected from love, from God, from others. And from that separation comes fear. It comes comparison, comes attack, comes guilt, comes, shame. And when we start to understand that all of that is just made up as a way to protect ourselves, we start to wake up more to the truth of who we are. So we need to get very honest with ourselves. And one of the things that keeps us suffering is what we're thinking and believing, the thoughts that we're carrying every day, the habits that we're carrying every day, the ways of being that we are carrying every day. So when we start to suffer less, when we come into our lives and begin to have more presence of our thoughts and our beliefs and start to recognize that not necessarily what you're thinking and believing is true or the interpretation that you have. So today, just think about right now, maybe something that you may be going through or suffering through. When you think about it, it's just something that might just not be unquestioned, something that you're not questioning. It could be a diagnosis from the doctor. It can be any type of family related issue or anything. It's just a thought that it hasn't been questioned. It's just a thought that has just been sitting there, and you really believe that the separation exists, the guilt exists, the shame exists. But when we start to question our beliefs and thoughts with Holy Spirit, we start to have a different interpretation, and that takes work. It takes really getting to know your true self more, sitting with yourself, and not allowing yourself to go into automatic pilot. It's like training an animal. I don't know if you know that we're like animals. Our mind is like our mind. You laugh because I love it. You laugh because it's like our mind is like a savage. It's like savage like, and you need to like tame it. And that's the way that we need to start to see our spiritual practice, because we need to undo this unconscious way of being that really doesn't serve us. Because we all really deserve, I don't care what age you are, I don't care where you are in your life, we all deserve to live a life that we love, right? To fall in love with our life. This is going to be a lot of what's going to happen at the retreat when I'm there. It's just really honoring that we deserve to be happy and not suffer as much. The world has taught us that, the world that suffering is normal in a way, right? It's we've just been unconsciously thought that, but the truth is suffering is not our natural state. That's the thing here. So the more that we start to literally train ourselves and allow this part of ourselves to relax, and it comes with dedication, every day, meditation, cultivating thoughts that are aligned to love. What would love do? What would greatness do? If you're at the doctor's office, practicing mindfulness, being present. If the doctor says something, it's not creating a story around it. It's being very present, very accepting. One of the reasons we suffer is that we wish things would be different than what they are. And that is also the God complex. We're not trusting. We know that what is exactly perfect in the moment. It doesn't mean that you don't look for the best doctor. It doesn't mean you don't do things. Love moves. But there needs to be acceptance first of what is in the moment. And I had a little falling out this week with my son because he was dishonest about this game he was playing that I did not want him to play. And obviously he wasn't supervised, so that was on me. And when I went upstairs, he swore up and down and swore even on his dad that he wasn't playing. And he's, he's only 8, and he's like, and that's just it. And I took it personal, like, oh my goodness, like my son was dishonest to me. And I started to feel the thoughts of the ego come over me, like this is wrong. um I shouldn't be dishonest. It was all these like thoughts that were processing in my mind that were just making me feel more and more victimized. Can everyone relate here to that in your own circumstances, right? Like your thoughts just take over and you start to believe them. So I start to feel a lot of shame, and I sit down on the couch and I can feel these feelings come up. And then what I realize is that it's not true. What I realize is that the shame is not true, that it's not that I'm not a good mother, it's not that my son is bad for lying. It's just a learning experience. It's a classroom. And a person that is aligned to love, which is the type of personality and the abundant personality that I want to live, doesn't sit there and victimize myself. Yeah, I could, remember I try not to crucify myself that much. Jesus got off the cross after 3 days. It's like we could eventually don't have to stick on that cross. We can resurrect from that limited thinking. In this case, it took me like a few minutes. And that's because of my practice. So I'm sitting on the couch. I start to recognize that these shameful thoughts are untrue, that what my son did is not bad and it's just a classroom. And I'm happy that it happened because now I get to realize and take ownership of the whole thing that happened and redirect things that are to be more aligned to love. But it's interesting how we beat ourselves up when we're down, my friends. It's like you're down and then you kick yourself, when you're already down. It's interesting how the dynamics of things. So, what I've learned is to stop myself, to be present, realize that this is not aligned to my abundant personality, it's not aligned to who I am. And what I did was instead of wallowing and getting more and more victimized, I started to play Uno with my son. You guys know the card game Uno? Yeah, I just started to play Uno with him and we started to have a conversation about it. And then we did a little bit of, he loves golf, so we went outside and we practiced golf a little bit. And it's something that I hadn't really taken the time to do. So it's all of this way of changing our perception and also changing our behavior and thoughts and habits to be more aligned to what would love do, what would greatness do. And I could have also chosen not to have that shift. I could have wallowed in my misery. I could have called my husband. I could have made it a whole, novella. I am Latin, so I have the capability of making things very novella-like. But, I decided not to do that. I decided to turn it into my godly novella. Like, God, what would you do? And I want more of you in my life, and I want your expression of you in my life more and more and more. So it's that dedication. So we need to start to not believe our thoughts as much, to question our thoughts, to forgive more, to observe instead of identify, right? Observe instead of identify, and choosing again. And it's interesting because even though you can read the Course in Miracles all day long, you can come to the Sunday service, you can do a lot of different things to nurture your spirituality. We're going to forget sometimes, and that's okay. It's part of the whole thing. And we come back in grace and we apply things again and again and again in repetition, and we start to get better at it. So lastly, one of the other reasons we suffer is because we really don't trust life. We again want to control, manipulate, fear, uncertainty, and we're trying to, how do I say this? We're trying to God our own lives. Does that make sense? We're trying to God our own lives instead of allowing God to work through us. And through that comes a lot of patience and a lot of trust and a lot of just knowing that you're taken care of, that wholeness is there, oneness is there, and it's actually everywhere. And the more that we trust that the news that was given to you is the best thing ever, the more that we trust that the finances you have is exactly perfect, the more you trust that the relationships you have are exactly perfect, the more that you trust that what's going on in your life right now is exactly perfect, you begin to live a more happier experience. Is when we become like little children and are like, oh, this is not supposed to happen. Like, my son is not supposed to lie to me, is what was hurting me. When I realized, obviously, he's supposed to lie to me because he just did, you know? And it's exactly perfect for the healing. But when I say, no, 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 this is not supposed to be, that is an attack on myself because now I'm denying reality. And the reality is that that is the fact of what was at that moment. Doesn't mean I don't go redirect it. Doesn't mean that I don't go, not try to fix it, but redirect the energy as I did by playing Uno, by having a conversation, and by not going into the shameful, guilty thoughts and also spiraling into that direction. So, that being said, we are not here to suffer. We're not here to suffer. We're actually here to remember that we've never left the mind of God, to remember that we are so taken care of. And what we can do as a community is to remind others of that. And the way that you remind others of that is by living that. the more that you live this truth, the more that you question your thoughts, the more that you let go of the victimization of the control, you actually shine as being the light of the world. The course talks about that you are the light of the world. So every time that you're an exemplification of that, which I see it here in this community, that you are all in. Like you're all in to be that light. Yes or no? Because I feel that from seeing every one of you. Like you're ready. Like you are ready to be an example of trust and really people seeing you or you or you or you and saying, oh my gosh, like I'm inspired. You don't even have to say anything because you are living it. You are living it by showing demonstration of what is holy, of what is the truth. And it's incredible that each and every one of you has your role to play in that in whatever way it is. And trust me, you're not going to be perfect at it. I'm not perfect at it. I forget too. But you know what? I have the commitment every morning to say, I am ready to do God's will. And that prayer of that song, I am here to be truly helpful. It's all connected. I'm here to be truly helpful, to allow spirit to guide me. And even when I fall, even when I don't want to, there's a dedication there to do it. Now, is it difficult? Absolutely. It's difficult to get over yourself. It's it's an animal thing. And you need to, it's incredible because you see my dog here actually. It's like you need to train.
I thought it was a cat. I thought it was a
It's
cat.
actually, yeah, it's actually my dog. I didn't realize he was in the picture till now. But it's like we need to learn how to train ourselves in a way that is very radical because we are undoing a thought system that we believe so much, which is the thought system of suffering. So it's like constantly, constantly, and you know what? It's good work. Like it's hard work, but it's good work because that work that it seems so hard is bringing you more to your true nature. So you actually enjoy it. You enjoy doing that meditation, maybe not 10 minutes now it's 30 minutes, or you enjoy like not making real something in your life or a news that you got and making it more loving in your mind, and you're like, oh my God, this was hard to get over my victimization and my control, my manipulation. It was really, really hard to do that. But it's good because now I know I can do it, and you'll do it more and more and more and more. So you'll start to have evidence that you getting over yourself starts to actually work, and you want to do it more and more and more. So start to apply that more. Like my commitment is to question my thoughts more. My commitment is to let go of the control and to trust more and to be that light for people in my life and every day practice that. Now, coming into, I will be coming down, and this is something that was so spirit guided. I will be in Denver in July. And the reason I'm going to Denver is I'm actually going to a retreat. I'm going to go see Dr. Joe Dispenza because he's incredible, and I've already taken a retreat with him here in Marco Island, and now I'm going to the advanced retreat. And it's something that, as a teacher of God, really helps me to meditate and to really nurture myself and as a teacher as well. And what I had that intuitive hit was, well, if I'm going to be in Denver, I might as well go visit you guys. And you guys, and I'm going to visit you, and I'm going to be like a whole almost 5 days meditating, like probably 35 hours. So when I get to you guys better be ready to just go to heaven. I don't know what's going to happen because I'm going to be high as a kite. I mean, I'm just going to be so happy in God as God because that's exactly where that space takes me. So I'm excited to bring that energy to the retreat. So this retreat is called the Happiness Experience. It was born in Japan, actually. I was in Japan last year, July, and I was with 50 incredible Japanese Course in Miracles students, and we had an incredible experience. But it wasn't just lectures, it was literally experiencing our oneness, and if anything, the Japanese culture, it's hard for them to go emotional, and they did. They had emotional experiences, they had emotional connections. I'm just getting goosebumps talking about it. And I declared there that I will bring the happiness experience to America. I declared that there, and I'm bringing it first to Colorado. The happiness experience is the first place I'm doing it is with you, with the community here. And totally spirit guided. So the happiness experience in the USA is going to happen, the first one with you guys at Grand Junction. So that being said, the experience is August 1st, and that's 1 to 5 p.m. So that will be the retreat itself. And then I've decided that on Sunday we'll celebrate at the Sunday service at 10:30. So they both go together because we're going to have a very deep immersion on Saturday, and then we're going to celebrate on Sunday together our everything that we learned and really celebrate coming into that happiness, that the happiness experience we're going to have. Also, there's an early bird price of $60, which is good through July, through the 1st of July. And I also wanted just today, because I love like little games or like little raffles and all this. Like it's fun for me. Like that's why I love baby showers. So I decided, I decided that I would do something really fun. And again, Debbie doesn't know and Julian doesn't know what I'm about to say, but I hope they're ready. So I told them to have a flyer ready and the QR code and the link for later today. So today only, what I'm doing is if you buy the retreat ticket today, you will get my two books for free. So you will get Live Your Happiest and you will get Live Your Happy for free. Each one is about $16 each, so you wouldn't have to get them at the retreat. So you get them free, you get them signed, you get two meditations, each one that goes with each book, also the workbook for each book. So you get that if you get the retreat ticket today. So how does that sound? So you get the ticket, you get the books for free, you get them signed, you get two meditations, you get two workbooks that is for each book. So yeah, so I'm gonna give these to you. So Deb and Judianne, whoever signs up today, give me their name and I'll put them on the list. And when I get there, I will have their gift bag ready for those it's only today. So, and the reason I'm doing it today is because again, we're like animals. We need to be trained. So that's what I'm saying. Like we need these types of things to get motivated. And if it's the time is now, and I always say, if you want to change your life, you need to change the habits that you have every single day, if not the same thing happening over and over again. So when you make this decision today to get over yourself and be like, you know what, I'm going to make this investment today, or I'm going to do something different, it's helpful for your growth and remembering your true nature. So I'm adding that little bonus and that fun little twist to help the whole shebang out. So I hope that you got the memo over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. All right, everyone. Well, I will see you soon because time goes by so fast. In the meantime, just remember that you are loved, that you are seen, and that everything is exactly perfect as it should be. And when you believe it isn't, you suffer, and there's no necessity to suffer. That's the deal here because we're not here to suffer. We're here to remember. And the good news is that we get to remember together. Love you like a big coconut. Have a beautiful day.